I got Boots. Yeah, I got Boots. I think he's too skillful. His IQ level, how quick he is. I think his level's above.
It's hard to really go against Boots because on that one with specifically Xander, Xander's still young, you know? Boots is a lot older and has a lot more experience.
Is this a fight that you dare to say is a 50-50 fight?
Yeah, it gives a 50-50 fight. I give it more, it's 50-50 in a sense, but because of the experience, you can go 60-40. 60 with Boots, 40 with Xander, but it's a 50-50 fight, yes.
Boots has just looked more special athletically to me than Xander throughout their careers, right?
Sure.
On the other hand, you said Xander got better. Xander was so precocious. He was such a young fighter when we first saw him. And you don't have your man bones yet as a boxer. Now he's into his 20s, maybe a different fighter.
As excitement grows around the upcoming clash between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas, experts across the boxing world are stepping forward with confident forecasts. Ennis enters the matchup with proven experience and serious knockout strength, while Zayas comes in as a surging young contender known for his sharp technique. Together, their contrasting styles and career stages create the perfect setup for an intense battle between two different generations.
Ennis, it looks like we're going to be getting a fight
Xander Zayas.
with Jaron Ennis and Zayas. A great fight. How do those two match up together? We see Jaron Ennis really getting a crack at a guy who is as gifted as he is almost skill-wise, who has the determination and the will that you just talked about.
The winner of that fight should dominate the junior middleweight division for a little while, because those are the top two guys of the division. They're meeting at a great time, and whoever wins this fight should be the supreme 154-pounder.
Terrence Crawford has shared his thoughts on a potential bout between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas, describing it as an entertaining matchup, but one he believes might come a bit early for Zayas. He emphasized Ennis's high-level experience and proven ability, noting that the younger fighter may still require additional time to mature and reach that same level.
Boots Ennis, Xander Zayas announced this morning as well. Thoughts on that?
Man, that's a tough fight, you know, especially for Xander at this point in his career, but it shows his heart and his confidence, you know, that he have in himself. And he's ready to go make history for his country. And he's going to do real well in that fight. You know, I just think, you know, right now, you know, it's a little bit too early for him.
Former world champion Abner Mares shared a similar view to Crawford, also suggesting that the timing might not be right for Xander Zayas. He acknowledged Zayas' ability, but pointed out that he is still growing as a fighter, adding that taking on Jaron Ennis at this stage could be a step taken too early in his career.
Likely possibly happening, Xander versus Boots. How do you see that fight going? Do you think maybe Xander's a little bit too young there?
Too soon.
Too soon. You think it's too soon?
Brother. Yeah, I love Sanders, and if he waits and if he's smart and his team is smart, they'll hold on at least 2 more fights, and then, you know, release him to the wolves, and I'm just speaking realistic in how I see it, because I wouldn't want him to lose a really hard fight and him just declining. You get me? And it happens. We've seen it with fighters where it's too soon of a fight. I mean, let's not go far. I mean, I hate to use him as an example, but when Vargas fought Trinidad, it was too soon, brother. And you know, you gotta have and you gotta be patient with your fighters, and I think they have to be patient with Xander Zayas. Not that I'm saying that he can't win. Maybe he can, but maybe he's gonna get hit too much or injured himself. You get me? So wait a little bit for Xander.
On the other hand, boxing icon Roy Jones Jr. has spoken highly of Xander Zayas, describing him as a well-rounded fighter. He pointed to Zayas' composure, technical ability, understanding of the ring, and level-headed approach that stands out for his age. Jones's perspective reinforces the rising contender's reputation, indicating he possesses the qualities needed to perform against top-tier opponents.
A young guy like Xander, naturally it sounds like Xander may be an underdog in this matchup. What do you think that Xander presents to Boots that, one, he hasn't seen before, and that, two, he'll have to adjust to be successful?
Height, discipline, and Xander's actually a good puncher, and he also knows how to work to the body. So Xander is a complete fighter. I don't know how many complete fighters Boots really has faced, but unlike the guy he fought from overseas who was a decent fighter but he wasn't complete, Xander's complete.
Tim Bradley has offered his prediction, stating that Boots could halt Zayas, likely somewhere between rounds 9 and 11. He explained that Zayas tends to fade as the fight goes on, particularly in the later rounds, adding that the heavyweight cuts he goes through between bouts can take a toll on his legs and overall endurance.
Stop
Xander. He could. I've been reading a lot of comments and stuff, and people saying that, 9, 10. I've been also seeing, 11. Shit. Look, I just got done studying some Xander Zayas, man. Late in the fight, he begins to fade. Round 8, 9, he starts to fade. Yeah. He starts to fade because all that weight he put on. He put on so much weight in between fights. Boots, his ass put on weight too. I'm like, God, this dude is big. He look like he about 175. And he come all the way down to 54. Shit, that shit drains him. That drains him. And it pulls from his legs. And in the later rounds, he started to get fatigued. And I know.
Looking back at Zaza's most recent performance, he noted that although steady pressure was maintained, there was a lack of higher-level tactics or footwork that could successfully deal with Boots' relentless approach.
I noticed that in the last fight. He tried to keep it together with good technique, but shit, you can't hide that shit from me. You can't hide that from me, man. Went back, watched the film, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is standardized type of pressure that this dude been putting on him all night. It ain't no special effects. He, you know what I'm saying? He ain't cutting the angles and looking to cut him off. Occasionally, he will follow his ass. Once he, if he goes Xander pulls out left, he'll try to, meet him with a left hook or meet him with a right hand. But, it wasn't nothing that was like crazy. With head movement, the shit that Boots gonna be doing, all that head movement and sliding and tucking and moving on angles and shit. Boots, that's what Boots gonna attack his ass late. And Boots got power. He got major power.
Former world champion Shawn Porter views a matchup between Ennis and Zaz as a very competitive contest, giving credit to both fighters' abilities. He pointed out that Ennis's experience and constant pressure make him a serious threat, while also acknowledging Zaz's talent, athleticism, and youth, noting that both bring strong qualities into the ring.
I feel like you yourself, like I said, great boxing mind. I was wondering if I could pick your brain with a particular matchup that was announced yesterday. Okay. You sparred with both of these gentlemen. It's Boots and Zayas.
Oh, yes.
From what I understand, Zayas a little younger into his career. Boots, I believe sometime last year, you were able to get some work with him. And you said it's a little closer than what some people are saying. So how do you view that in particular?
Sure, man. You got two soldiers. We always identify ourselves as warriors, so you guys know that we're warriors, right? But I think a lot of times, a lot of fans, they forget that there's two warriors, and they get so caught up in what one warrior has, and they completely forget that even though this guy's got something, listen, this guy standing across from me, like I was saying on the Borderway podcast, we understand that this guy is dangerous, and until we put that guy in the right position, we can't just.
Although Porter slightly favors Ennis to come out on top, he made it clear this matchup is far from one-sided. He expects a hard-fought contest, emphasizing that both fighters have a real chance to win.
And I truly do think that Xander has a lot, not just some. He has a lot of attributes that are going to offset what Boots has been known for, what Boots has been able to do. And I think it's going to be a pretty good competitive fight. I do think that Boots is a bit much for the younger Xander, but Xander's had a lot of really good experiences that's made him worthy for this moment. I think right off the top, I would say Boots wins this fight, but it's not an easy fight. And should Boots not just simply sit down at the dinner table and have his way, don't be surprised. And I think that's another part of the game that gets lost. You got to promote both sides. Right. It's always A side, B side. And I get that. I understand that. But you got to promote B side. Yeah. Because what happens when the B side is doing something that you don't expect? Right. All of a sudden, A side isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing, or he's not who he is. No, it's that the B side's more. But you got to promote it that way so that people expect more, So I think along the way, that's going to be my narrative is, hey, both these guys are really.
Hall of Fame icon Winky, Wright has emphasized that a fighter earns greatness by taking on top opponents. He sees a bout between Zaz and Jaron Ennis as precisely this type of challenge, offering a real contest and a major chance for both athletes to enhance their legacies by testing themselves against elite competition.
Looks like Xander and Boots are going to fight. What are your thoughts on that fight?
It's going to be a good fight, man. The division looking good right now, and I just want to see all the fighters fight each other, man. The best need to fight the best. That's what's going to bring the fans to boxing. And, you can only be great by beating somebody great. You know what I'm saying? You can have a bunch of wins with no great win. You're just a good fighter, but you want to be great, you need to beat another great fighter. So they got the opportunity, and I hope they.
Richard Torres Jr. expressed his admiration for Xander Zayas, praising the qualities he brings to the ring. He believes Zayas possesses both the skill and determination to challenge Boots Ennis and make the fight difficult.
Question more for you. What do you think about Boots versus Xander? How do you pick that out?
Man, you know, it's two insanely talented fighters. I myself am a Xander fan. I through and through since day one. I've known him since the amateurs. I'm gonna rock with Xander. He's my guy. I won't ever go against him, man. So Xander's my guy, and I'm gonna keep with him. But Boots is such a talented fighter. I'm a fan of his as well, and I'm excited for that. I just saw he posted today that he signed the contract. So let's see how it goes.
Up-and-coming fighter Brooke Mullen shared a strong prediction, favoring Ennis to take control. She highlighted that Ennis's strength and experience might be enough to overpower Zayas in the matchup.
Ennis, June 27th, Xander Zayas. I know we thought Virgil. I know we talked about that. I know we thought Virgil, but nice pivot.
Yeah.
What you thinking?
Oh, he's gonna punish him. He's gonna punish him. He's gonna take him to school, and he's gonna punish him. He's gonna box his head off in circles.
Damn, bro. Like that?
Like that. Taking him to school, literally.
What do you? How does those fights differ? The Boots Virgil, the Boots Xander. Like, what's the differences in approach?
Well, I think that Xander's is bigger naturally, ain't he?
Yeah, he's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, but I think that I think Virgil's a little smarter defensively. I think Xander's more of a rough and tough type of kid. And he hasn't really been too experienced and in there with guys the caliber of Boots at all. So I think that he's just gonna be. I think he's gonna be so outmatched.
Mullen also forecasted that Ennis might achieve a stoppage as soon as the third round, citing his combination of power, speed, and seasoned experience as key factors that could decide the fight.
He's not gonna know what to.
Where's the stoppage? Early, middle, late?
Boots last time, I should have bet on that first round knockout, man.
Yo, that was I thought it would go some rounds.
I know my friend was like, what should I bet on? I don't know. I was like, damn, I should have guessed the first. I'm gonna say the third or fourth.
Yeah?
Let's come back to this.
Okay.
Let's see how close.
Polyen AI points out that the matchup carries greater risk for Zayas, emphasizing that he has more to lose. The analysis sees Zayas as an emerging talent whose upward trajectory could suffer a significant setback if he comes up short against Jaron Ennis.
Xander has more to lose here, you know? Not that Ennis doesn't have a lot to lose, but, you know, in a fight of this magnitude, there's a lot to lose for both guys, and there's a lot to gain for both guys. But I think Xander has more to lose, and but also more to gain.
I agree on everything you said except for the fact that the point that Xander has more to lose, because he's already been a two-time champion at 54, unified WBA, WBO, and what was the other one? And the WBA. But if he loses, I think he just moves up to 160, and 160 is a wide open division, and I think he can do a lot of really good there. Listen, a loss is never a good thing. It's risky for both fighters, but guess what? This is boxing. We guys taking risks when they're young. Xander's 20.
He highlights what he considers clear defensive weaknesses in Zayas' style, noting that Zayas often lowers his hands and leaves his left side open, creating opportunities that a sharp fighter like Ennis could take advantage of. These aren't just minor lapses, but vulnerabilities that could prove critical under continuous pressure. Beyond defense, he contrasts their fighting approaches. Zayas relies on counterpunching, using timing and distance to land shots and manage the pace, while Boots excels by pressing forward relentlessly, maintaining constant pressure, and capitalizing on opponents' mistakes, making him especially dangerous against fighters who struggle against aggressive, persistent offense.
And there's spots where I see Xander, he just gets himself in some bad spots, man. He drops his hands a lot. I see too much exposure on that left side. Way too much exposure on that left side. He gonna have to keep that left hand glued to his face, because that overhand right of Boots is lethal. It's lethal, man. And Boots turned that uppercut up the middle too, especially from the southpaw stance when Xander's leaning forward, man. Another lethal shot. But man, I see a lot of holes in Xander's game, especially when you start to put that pressure on him. Yeah. He try to get the out of Dodge. He don't want none of that heat. Nah, he don't like the heat like that. He like his space. His system requires distance. Can he fight a little bit inside? A little bit inside. It's not a specialty. Nah, he want to be able to work the combinations as you throwing shots. He looking for shots to be able to counter in between with shit, or he looking to start his shit, start the action, boom, weave underneath shots, counter, boom, boom, and then he on to the next. He around that corner, right? He turned the corner.
Even as the underdog, respected boxing journalist Mike Coppinger sees Xander Zayas' decision to face Jaron Ennis as a smart move. He points out that going up against a well-established, high-profile fighter like Ennis can raise Zayas' visibility and standing in the sport. Taking on such a formidable opponent carries risk, but it also offers potential financial rewards and the chance to earn respect from fans and promoters by demonstrating his readiness to compete at the sport's highest level rather than opting for safer, lower-profile fights.
Incredible athlete, he has a great jab, he can box, he's in good fights, he has power. But Xander Zayas at 23 is definitely an improving fighter, and like you said, Gabe, he's an economic engine, right? He could be fighting in Puerto Rico. In January, he could fight in New York. He's gonna probably have the bigger fan support here. And I think this is a great business move for Xander too. He's gonna get a career high payday, and like you said, 190 he walks around at. He hasn't had much more time at 154.
Yeah. And also I'm thinking about is if you really watch Boots does look special all the time. But there's cases where he gets hit a lot. And you're like, man, for you to be so good and so special, why are you getting hit from some of these lower class fighters? So Xander might have seen that. So you know what? Yeah, I know Boots is special. I know he's really, really good, etc. But I see things in his game where I can...
When asked about what Zayas brings to the ring, Boots Ennis' coach pointed to the young fighter's youth, determination, and drive to prove himself. Fighting in New York adds extra motivation, and his ambition and energy make him a credible threat despite his relative inexperience. The bout also represents Boots' second historic defense as a two-division unified champion at 147 pounds, marking a significant milestone in his career. Having worked with Boots since his amateur days, the coach noted that this matchup fits perfectly with what Boots has always sought, a challenging, high-stakes fight against a motivated and capable opponent eager to make an impact.
The Xander fight goes, what does Xander bring to the table that can make this difficult?
I mean, you know, he's young, you know what I mean? And he got something to prove. So that's what I think, you know what I mean? You know, that he got to bring to the table. He's young and he got something to prove. In New York, you know what I mean? I think he's from New York. You know what I mean? So I think he's going to have something to prove.
Boxer Bernie Thox highlighted how important the Ennis versus Zayas matchup is for Boots' career, noting that a strong showing could open doors to bigger opportunities and title fights. He mentioned that although a potential bout with Vergil Ortiz had been considered, those talks fell through, leaving Boots without that high-profile fight. In contrast, facing a champion like Zayas offers a meaningful challenge, combining prestige with career growth. Bernie added that taking on Zayas could cement Boots' status as a top contender, allowing him to prove himself against a skilled opponent while creating opportunities for more high-stakes and lucrative fights down the line.
And
he wants to. We ain't gonna put.
Anything happens though. Anything can happen.
No, I think that's gonna be all right. You know, if Top Rank. I don't know how serious the negotiations is, but I think definitely want to put Boots in with a champion. You know, being that Vergil Ortiz, the fight didn't materialize. It was a hot fight. Wasn't for the championship. Again, I said that, you know, Boots being a champion, a unified champion, a lineal champion, he's going to want a title belt around his waist, which most fighters do. You know, it brings more money, it brings more prestige, and it brings a little bit more swag to the fighter. So belts do matter, and I feel like Boots wants to have a championship around his waist, and I think it's warranted. You know, it boosts his ego and who he is and who people think he is.
That wraps up today's breakdown. Make sure to stay tuned for the next video.